This is like having a great, like, wet fart. Just rippling.
What's up?
What's up, fellas?
Got William S. Greetings. So can you hear us? Let us know. Clem, what's up?
Clement?
I guess William was here at 6:22. Evan,
Man.
what's up? 5x5x5. Sweet. Don Stinson.
All right.
Loud and clear. Sweet. Adam Hall, hello, sir.
So what kind of shit we're talking about today?
So Lewis might not be joining us, but as you probably guessed from the title and the pictures, some people in the shooting community have been very vocal recently about how, in their mind, clearly competition shooting is the peak level of shooting in general, and that includes gunfighting. So the exact quote, I paraphrased in the title, the exact quote was that tactical shooting is competition shooting done at a remedial level.
So basically, a shooting in the fight or combat or training for such. Now, English not being my first language, how would you define word remedial?
Well, I think they're saying that like we're on the short bus.
So with the short bus people, right?
Yeah, it's like they're obviously the A students.
I see.
Yeah, the A pluses.
So
Yeah,
we
the
are those in
A's.
the back of the classroom, right?
Yeah,
Cool. Well, yeah, this could be an easy 6 hour conversation or about 7 day class
yeah,
easily. And I'd love to do that, whether it's a conversation or a class, doesn't matter. But
yeah. Well, we got you got Shooter Fighter Matrix, and then Shooter Fighter Matrix DP coming up, and then you got the Force on Force. Like,
yeah,
what a better
well,
time?
I somehow seriously doubt we're gonna have any of those specific dudes joining the classes, but that's
Right.
okay, I suppose. So you guys heard the quote. I would actually, before I open up my mouth and start lip twerking, because I will, I would love to hear what you guys, what is your take on the phrase that basically uh, tactical shooting is performance shooting done at remedial level or something like that,
Yeah.
right? So basically, like, when you guys tactical people, and I don't like the word tactical, I don't, just because of how misused it is and on and on. But nevertheless, we'll stick with it for what it is now.
Yeah. I definitely think that there is a point that he's trying to make that I could get that maybe wasn't presented in the way that it should have been.
Well, see, and this is the problem with social media or the tactics, no pun intended, right? To gather attention or to get clicks, right?
Yeah.
You make absolute statements and that gathers the clicks because people get twisted. People
Hmm.
get their panties twisted in the wad and they go like, oh, that's bullshit, that's this and that and this and that, right? So at first when I saw that post, I kind of took it as such. But then going through the comments and then further explanations and other things, I was like, well, no, actually, the originator of the post kind of meant it almost literally in those absolute terms,
Yeah.
saying that, basically, the way I think he presented, he goes, all other things being equal, the mindset, the tactics, the, whatever other metrics you're going to use, he who is a better shooter versus he who shoots at the remedial level, who would you take in the fight?
Yeah. I mean, if two people existed that were perfect twins,
Not just
but
that, I submit to you, it's actually much deeper and much more twisted, and it hides under the surface, but not very deep. But it's a hidden little twist, and I don't know if it's done out of ignorance or it's intentional. I do suspect the first one, the ignorance, because it was intentional. If it was intentional, that would be really fucking evil,
Yeah.
you know. So I do suspect that it was ignorance. But I would like to hear from you guys, and to hear meaning that you're gonna have to work with your little fingers and type it out. What is your take when people say that those of us who worry about exposures as we're coming around the corners and all the other things, and we don't necessarily chase 100% of the time the metrics that grandmasters in performance competition shooting chase, that basically that makes us at best remedial shots, and all things being equal, which that alone will become 20-minute conversation, but we'll get to that in due time. That he who is a performance shooter and who does all the things that they do in competition basically takes the cake.
Right.
That was my take from what I read, and it was interesting because in comments there were more people, obviously, from performance competition shooting side of things. And here's another thing that I find interesting. It's where people go in absolutes and kind of go in like, and it's on both sides, but I think it's much heavier on the performance competition shooting side, where they almost totally dismiss anything that people in the tactical training do. Well, I find that significant, very significant portion people that do more of a tactical, again, I fucking despise that word, training, they do pay a lot of attention and they do want to become better shots.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, because people start playing it as like a left versus right kind of thing,
Yeah.
where, oh, you're only into the tactical stuff. And I've met people like that. And then some people that are only into competition and that they pretend that that is gunfighting.
Well, I think on the tactical side, early students, and I've seen them in my own classes. You know what I mean? Where they go like, well, actually, their impression early on, let's say running the 2-5 drill, and they go like, well, it doesn't matter if I hit square one, square two, square three, square four, it's still somewhere in the center mass. That's good enough.
Yeah.
And at some level, you can say, yes, it is good enough, right? But
But are you cheating yourself to play the game?
and that's the thing, the way I look at it is that, again, I've seen those guys where they go like, well, as long as I able to move fast and explosive around the corner or whatnot, I don't have to be super accurate because I will have all these A, B, C, D advantages over the guy, right? And I usually let people go at first, and then I go like, do you realize that you sound just like performance and competition shooters?
Yeah.
As long as I'm faster,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
The metrics being used.
Well,
So
that's the same when it's like we're going from, version zero point 0.5 that we did. So we did that at Thurman's, as because we had one dude who had never taken any of
yeah,
our classes. So there was no hostage targets,
yep,
and we didn't put him through the gauntlet immediately at the beginning. So it was just running the course
yep.
of fire. Like, yeah, well, the strategy for that versus, well, now you've got hostage targets. Well, you need to know where those bullets are going. And then you've got, okay, well, it's not going to be in the exact center, or I'm going to change where the squares are, or I'm going to make the squares smaller. You could make it one target and it's a 3x5 card. That's a
Mhm,
heart box on a human.
mhm.
Like, now you kind of you have to aim, but it'd be the same if, when you're standing downrange from the target, you can't, like, oh, let me just sling these rounds out just as long as I'm fast. I mean, it's good to be in and out of the room pretty quick, but if you can't be shooting, like, I'd rather you just not shoot.
Well, and and that's the part that you also have to, because and again, I'll get to that gradually as we get to, hopefully, some comments from our listeners, that you know that. All right, let me just be pretty fucking direct here. Let's stop beating around the bush. All right, so my opinion, performance competition shooting is a very narrow special specialized field, extremely narrow specialized field.
Yeah.
So when someone says that if I become very good in that narrow specialized field, somehow everything that I'm learning for that very narrow specialized field, like we talked the other day, me and you, we talked about it, right? There are guys that are in competition shooting where they do seminars and all that. They go like, so when I get in behind this cover, when I get in, by the way, that cover is a see-through cover, but that's a separate point. When I get into this shooting position, I want to take a stance with my feet flared out this way. That way, if I have three targets in between, I don't have to move my feet, and my structure just moves, so to speak, between the toes of my left foot and the right foot, never crossing to the outside of my toes,
Yeah.
either one side or the other, right? So I go like, okay, cool. So basically, what you're saying is you're going to step into the doorway with, okay, it's competition shooting. You saw through that transparent wall, there are three targets there.
Yeah.
Real life, you probably don't know.
No, it's not even close.
Right? So you step in there and you're going to address in certain sequence, and that sequence will be determined by the direction of your movement that follows next to you to get to the next opening, because your main metric is to beat the time.
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to step in. You see all three guys. Just a hint, all three of them see you. And you're going to engage bam, 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 bam. Right? So cool. Maybe you're so fast as you stepped in. By the time the first guy can do anything, you did bam, bang. Second guy is total retard. Okay? He carries on the empty chamber. Right?
Yeah.
So he does that, and by the time he does that and extends his pistol or whatever the fuck he has, you do the bang, bang. What about the third guy?
Yeah,
I would be interested to see the timer from the vantage point of the first, second, and third guy. When you as a shooter appear in the open position with your toes spread out, that way they envelop all three targets that are separated by 3, 4, 5, 6 feet, right? And I would like to see the timer as soon as you're visible, bam, 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 bam. By the time you fire shot number 5, how much time has passed?
Yeah, even if you put it to make it easier on the shooter, if you said, "Hey, you bad guys can't move," which obviously is,
of course,
is
bullshit. And you guys cannot be behind the cover or change things.
But that'd be the same. So, like, police departments used to do like basically a shooting theater where they would like dry practice or shoot at like a projector. So it'd be the thing comes up and they got to pull their service revolver out and blast it, and it's it's a berm with a thing over it. Like, let's get a projector, and then have the problem is if you put these competition guys against each other, or even regular people, because the third guy has an enormous amount of time. But if you said, "Hey, what's your draw to first shot?" or just your first shot from presentation, because if you're the bad guy and 3 of your buddies are in this room, you've got your gun out.
More interesting, what it takes for you to be from standing in the corner to be behind the couch where he doesn't even see you.
Yeah. But then the problem doesn't work. Then you're like, oh, but he's got to hit these 3 things that don't move and don't shoot back and are full value targets and
are known.
Stand still.
They are known quantity.
And my part of some of the problem with the competition stuff is people think that it's still the same institution. Because even IDPA, which is the International Defensive Pistol Association, something like that, like they have what's called tactical priority, and you're supposed to use cover, more or less, and you're supposed to engage them in an order that makes sense. So you can't peek out and get 3 targets. You'd have to hit the first one, peek out more, hit the second one, hit the third one. But the way the people do that is the same as everything else, because that, just like USPSA and the Soldier of Fortune 3 gun and all of that, was started by dudes like Ken Hackathorn and then has been eroded away to nothing.
To the point to where Ken Hackathorn doesn't want anything to do with that.
Yeah. Like, and then same with Jeff Cooper. Yeah. Jeff Cooper, parachuted out earlier on, but he was like, yeah, this is gay. I'm done with that.
Yeah.
But then you're supposed to, like in IDPA, you're supposed to, I don't know if it's required anymore, but you're supposed to shoot from concealment. That's why everybody buys the fishing vest, because that's the thing that you would never wear, that everybody knows what that means. It's the fastest thing to flip out of the way and do that.
No, man, I tell you, back in 99, 2000, I was wearing that mofo fishing vest. Actually, it was actually a pretty fancy one too. It was like Orvis or something like that.
Okay.
One of those companies. Yeah, it
I
was
mean,
like,
to be fair, John Farnham still wears it.
I know, it
But
was like
not-
$95 vest back in the day. I still actually have it somewhere, I think, in one of the boxes.
But-
Maybe I'll wear it in one of the classes or
But
something.
he looks like he can pull it off. But if you're taking a USPSA rig and then tucking it under a blanket, is that concealment?
Right.
No. But I think that's part of the problem is they're literally playing a game.
But here's my deeper problem, man. Right. So now we're talking about execution. What if that guy moves? What if that guy is quick on the draw just as you are, and he has just the same competition rig as you do, And so this is execution stage, right? We're comparing what ifs on the execution stage. You standing there for 1.8 seconds while you're engaging those three targets because your splits are so quick and everything else, right? And you go like 1.8 seconds for the guy from concealment. Some not even grandmaster people will be able from concealment to make the headshot
Right.
at that distance on static target. No problem. We have those guys all day long. What if he's actually unholstered? What if he has it in his hands?
They're bad
Right?
guys.
So this is so again, but yet we're still going into execution thing, right? To me, the deep problem is this. When you're developing certain narrow specialized skills, and as I said, I am 100% convinced, and I would like to wait someone to prove me wrong, that today, the way the performance competition shooting is, it is a very, very narrow field of very specialized skills.
Yeah.
Very narrow field. When you're working on very narrow scope of skills, everything that you do is geared towards what? For you to meet, exceed, satisfy the metrics that are within the scope of the task. So when we look at the metrics of the task in competition performance shooting, what are the two metrics? First one is what? Which one is more punishable?
Well,
Time.
Time, of course.
Time is the most important, right? The guy who finishes the fastest, even if he made shots that are not as good, is more likely to win. I don't know exactly how they're scoring points.
You can definitely miss fast enough to win.
So so it is. It's not just a joke, right?
Oh no, that's
you can miss fast, but if you're fast enough, you can win.
Yeah, you can take first place shooting no shoots.
That's pretty fucking awesome, man. I like that reality. I like that narrow field. You know what I mean? That's pretty damn cool. So if I'm working to develop skills to meet, exceed, and satisfy those metrics within that very narrow field, everything that I do will be guided by what? In order for me to achieve those things, to be fastest with acceptable accuracy. One, two misses, one hostage, whatever, or no shoot, whatever, right? As long as I don't miss 7 out of 12 shots, But if I blazed through it in 2 seconds faster than the next guy, I'm good to go. And again, I don't know all the metrics, so you competition guys, if you're watching, don't be crucifying me here.
The problem is, like, I don't know 100% because I've never shot a competition, but I've seen videos where it's not just your time and it's not just your accuracy. It's like there's a thing called hit factor, and they do some math, and then there's these other things, whatever. But what's funny is if you're fast enough with a D minus, like if you hit 70%, that's a D in like U.S. education system. So that's shitty. But if you do that fast enough, you can beat the guy with 100.
Wow.
So I don't know.
Yeah. So, my mind works in the funny ways where I'm thinking like this. If I'm working on something very specific, right? My only goal is to make this blade so sharp that I move it across this, barely touching it, and it just slices it. It doesn't even make a sound, right? Will I have the sharpest blade?
Yeah.
Very likely. Very likely. Now, if I have to put that blade against a hardwood dowel and hit it with a hammer, will that edge survive?
No.
Okay. So if I'm only working to make a claim that I have the sharpest blade, is there anything wrong with having a sharp blade? Not
No.
really. Not really, right? But that blade is good for what? For cutting unopposed, relatively soft things of not high density.
Yeah.
That's a specialty.
Yeah.
That's the specialty of that blade. So to nice fucking beef fillet or a tuna steak or whatnot, it's gonna be the most beautiful thing you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
It's like
It's the
fucking-
surgeon's scalpel.
Yes,
It's that way for a reason.
yes.
But that's what makes me really like the way that Andy Stanford put it, is that you're training for the gold medal round of the active shooter competition. Like a grandmaster at USPSA or whatever is a fantastic, master level shooter.
Yeah.
And that's great. But part of the problem is if your tactical training or your competition training is training you for shooting, we're talking about fighting. Like you can be the best at the punch machine at the arcade, but is that fighting? Like, well, Sonny, like I got 980 and this other guy got, 560.
But this other guy can move his feet. He has timing. He has
Yeah.
distance. He has rhythm. He has understanding of workspace. He has physical conditioning to dive under, to go for double leg, and all the other things, right?
Yes.
While you invested 100% of your time in what? Developing that close to 1,000-pound knockout punch, right?
Yeah.
Except that you're going to have 100% luck to be there unopposed
Yeah.
to deliver that punch.
Yeah. And I got to wear my special shirt.
That too, right? But the deep problem is, do you think that when you train that way for very narrow specialized field to meet certain metrics, do you think that it affects, let's say, the way you move?
Absolutely.
Do you think that it affects your sense of timing, your sense of urgency, your biomechanics, your feet positioning, your understanding of shooting positions around the corner?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is.
Does it affect your presentation as far as where your support hand is? If it's rifle, if it's shotgun, if it's something like that.
Yep.
Does it change that, right? So now, yes, if I'm on the post shooting steel, shooting paper, and all that stuff, it's beautiful. Okay. But I replace target 1 with Joey. I replace target 2 with Lewis. I replace target 3 with Jay. And let me see.
Yeah, that's not gonna turn out well. But that's the thing. And some people should acknowledge it, and part of the problem is some of these dudes that I'm about to talk about are the ones actively saying against this. But if you took like the SEAL teams, that's a specialized unit. Or if you took like a SWAT cop, like Dallas SWAT, I mean, what are the odds that those dudes that are doing that shit full time and actually training, putting in the work, like which of those dudes does the best traffic ticket? They probably all fucking suck at it because that's not their job. But
I submit to you, they're probably not the best undercover drug buyers either.
Probably not, because they're going to tell you that they're on the SWAT team.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing.
It's also probably not the guy to send into a strip club to see if there's human trafficking going on there, right?
Yeah.
Because everything about him, his posture, even his fucking hairdo and his tattoos and everything tells you what? A cop.
Yeah. But that's the same thing. Like I've seen a couple of them, and like I saved them for different things that I kind of like, not necessarily make fun of, but point out things. There's a lot of things where it's like Navy SEAL tells you how to run your home defense shotgun. Well, SEALs usually don't use shotguns, so maybe he's the one dude that did, but it didn't seem like it from the way he was teaching it. But I've seen some where it's like Navy SEAL teaches you about pepper spray. Like I'd rather take a random cop,
Random. Literally.
than a dude that probably has never had to use this or carry it in his life.
Because I'm
But
sure
he's
sure in Tora Bora that's exactly what they used, fucking the pepper spray in those caves, you know.
Right? But it's that type of stuff. That's who I want. If I had to call somebody that I needed heart surgery, I wouldn't be like, hey, well, you're the fastest butcher in town. Well, get to it. I'd rather the dude that knows exactly what's going on, the guy that's got the steady hand and that's paid attention to what things are and knows the right the right drugs that need to be put in me at the right amounts and the right time. But that's a part of the problem. We talk about it with the medical stuff, is there's a difference between a surgeon and a paramedic. For most people, they would say, "Oh, I'll take the surgeon. I'll take the surgeon."
I'll take
Well,
paramedic
the
any day.
surgeon isn't carrying a tourniquet right now, so you're fucked.
Not just that, surgeon is like a lot of those SWAT guys. He's so
Yeah.
used to rely on the team of nurses and everyone else
Yeah.
giving him the tools, preparing this, everything is ready to go. He just needs to press the trigger.
Yeah.
That's basically what the surgeon does. He presses the trigger. He has a knowledge, extreme knowledge, how to do it. He can tell you where it needs to be cut, but everything else prior to that needs to be prepared for him.
Yeah. Well, that's what part of the problem is. Dudes, name dropping Matt Pranka. He's a dude that was in the Dev Guru Ninja dudes, but then he's also one of the biggest proponents of saying, "Well, shooting is just shooting." I mean, literally, yes, shooting is shooting, but what are we talking about here? Like, is driving driving? Well, yeah. I mean, if you're driving down this neighborhood here, driving is driving.
Driving is driving.
It's the same
driving is driving in 2 feet of sleet and ice, right?
Yeah.
It's still driving
Or,
is driving, right?
you know,
Or going on a NASCAR
I
circuit.
can drive an ambulance, right? I can just do whatever. I can drive a CDL truck with a semi, and I can do that. Well, I can probably hop in this train or fly this plane. Well, it's just like that's the same
The same controls.
the same thing. Like,
right.
Sign me up for
driving is driving. First time I got into driving a 105-foot ladder truck in the fire department, that's longer than a school bus.
Yeah.
Big school bus. Driving is not driving, okay?
Yeah. But now you got cars coming at you.
Yeah, and I have to go against the traffic because I have going lights and sirens to actually working structure fire.
Yeah.
Driving is not driving, brother.
Yeah. And you gotta see if anybody's paying attention to the lights. Mm-hmm. And that you are gonna ignore the lights because you got shit to do. Weird.
Yeah. So to me, I think the biggest overlooked thing is how much harm unintentionally people can do to their other attributes while developing narrow, specialized skills. Because if I develop certain wiring, if I develop certain habitual actions of how I'm going to step into the doorway for that speed to chase that main metric, what makes you think that when I replace the targets from paper to flesh, I'm going to do something different?
Yeah.
It's kind of like saying, well, when it's for reals, I'm going to do a different thing.
Yeah.
While they bragging about how many thousands of repetitions they do not for reals.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to come out?
Yeah, the not real stuff. That's the stuff that I just don't get. Is there's this
and a lot of competition performance shooter guys, they'll go like, well, do you guys train under pressure? Well, define to me pressure.
Right.
First of all, what is pressure? What is your pressure in competition? Your pressure is what? Your biggest pressure is this. It's time. It's time. It's linear time because there is no two-way interaction between you and target. He's a receiver, you a pitcher.
Yeah.
That's all that there is to it. You pitching, he's catching. It's a very linear time. Okay. I'll tell you what. Imagine in the baseball field, so you have the catcher and the pitcher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine they have to be both at the same time. So two guys standing in front of each other, and the timer goes, beep, throw the ball and catch the ball that the other one is throwing at you.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be a 110 mile an hour fastball?
Probably not.
Do you think accuracy would be the same?
No.
And do you think he would catch that ball from the other pitcher?
Probably not.
That's so all of a sudden his metrics are going to have to change, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not just throwing the ball. While I'm throwing the ball, I have to be in position to be able to react to what's being thrown at me, right?
Right.
And I'm looking at that and I go like, it should not take a fucking 120 IQ to realize that when we're playing one way downrange,
yeah,
it's not the same as interactive fucking exchange.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem is to them, genuinely, their idea of their gunfight is them saving the day. And it's just bad guy at 7-Eleven. I just whip out my staccato and then I give him the bill drill. And then, like, everybody hoists me up on their shoulders and, like, great, hey, dude, are you a grandmaster? What kind of grip chalk did you get? Like, also, grip chalk is out. I keep getting ads for clear grip adhesive.
Also, now you cannot even see that they have it, so it just
Yeah.
looks basically like cum
So,
on your
so,
fingers.
so
Right?
you're a closeted fag.
Cool.
It's like, at what point is this just like Elmer's glue that someone's putting for like $29.99?
Because basically, like in baseball, wouldn't they fucking like disqualify people because they would check if the gloves have like they would use
Yeah,
something for more, for
yeah, something.
better grip or whatnot, and if they would find it, or they would alter somehow their bats, make them lighter or
Yeah,
something like that, hollow it out or whatnot, right?
yeah,
So that's disqualification, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I think if you put any kind of jizz on your hands to help you to hold the gun, you should be disqualified from having a gun.
yeah. Well, that was part of some of the pictures that I used for this because one of them, I took two pictures, put them together, and it's just a no shoot that's got like shot in the head, and it's a dude holding a timer. Like, great.
Cool.
Like,
That's
oh,
you.
I'm down 1 second, but I got it. And then another one's like part of the stuff that I hate about the shit the competition people do. I'm sure the way that they see the general tactical community, and I hate that shit too because there's tactical dudes that have the grip chalk, squeeze tube, and there's and competition is starting to, well, it's always been, but to the point where it's specifically with the gear and the way that skills are being taught is that now to teach a police department it's bill drills and these dudes, like if you have a magnet on your duty belt, like you're a fag. Like it's so you can have the magazine special for your USPSA stage, but that's what they're teaching cops, and that's what you know part
The
of.
only magnet you should have, and that's for very special occasions, and that's way back in the 80s, where they taught us about having a magnet sewn into your waistband of like swimming trunks, like swimming shorts.
Yeah,
That way you can carry a Makarov because it's double action. It's very hard trigger pull,
right.
right? But I can have it hot on the double action setup, and then the small magnet attached to the slide of the Makarov, and it just sits on the inside of my swimming
Right.
shorts.
See, that makes sense.
So
But
that kind of magnet.
but these dudes basically have a gun bucket, and they're just trying to shoot as fast as possible, and they wonder why cops are shooting too fast or shooting the wrong people or not
Mm.
hitting stuff. There's a dude, like, I'm not watching some of his videos makes me want to not buy his book, but there's a guy named Lonnie or Larney Zeller or something like that. I think he's a cop in Ohio because I keep seeing stuff and it's like the Opata Ohio Peace Officer Training Academy standards in halftime, and he does the whole shooting standards in half the time, and then he does it a third the time, and now a fourth the time. But what he's using is the standard target where the hitbox is fucking gigantic, and of course he's getting close or he's achieving a fourth of the time, but he's got like a bunch of bullets in the right shoulder. It's like, why don't you just? I'd rather you shrink the target.
And do it in 5% under time.
Yeah,
Right?
like, or if you want to do the half, because it is a generous amount of time because they have to keep the bar low enough
Yeah,
that
of
they
course.
still have cops. So I could understand if your point was to say, hey, this is retardedly slow,
Mhm.
speed it up. But it's been the same. Like I
But
don't.
don't blow up the target
But
to elephant size, right?
yeah, but it's a ridiculous target. Like
Mm.
there's some other ones that I think are a bit much, like the FBI bottle target that like Rangemaster uses. It's like a beer bottle shape, and then it's got like an 8-inch circle and a 6-inch circle, and then it's got the like a 5-inch circle for the head box. I think that's a bit much because like the bottle part kind of becomes the C zone, but this is even bigger than that, like quite a bit bigger.
Mm.
It's preposterous, but they're in, so it's an acceptable target. But
I don't know, man.
it's silly.
It's I mean, we've been talking about this forever, but the the way of thinking for the lack of a better term, the mindset. We are so separated, from a lot of those dudes that I'm kind of going like, I mean, it's fun to have discussion every now and then with them, I suppose, when you have nothing better to do in life, which should not be the case, period. But it is like banging your head against the wall.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking they probably feel the same way about us.
Yeah.
And I don't consider myself tactical dude. I certainly don't consider myself performance dude.
I think that's part of it. It's like that. I would put myself not in either of those camps necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of the problem is you've got the well, all these lefties are doing this thing, and then all these righties are doing this thing. I would say for the most part, a lot of the same shit. Like I would get more out of a conversation with Ben Stoger if I met him at a bar somewhere. If I walked in and he was there, I'd get more out of a conversation with him, who's a competition dude, than a lot of these tactical dudes because they do a bunch of gay retarded shit, and they're the ones whining about being downrange and stuff like that.
I agree.
And who knows? Like I don't know what Ben's thoughts are on that.
I don't know. I haven't heard him talk about it or whatnot.
But I would get more out of that because
I would actually. I would love to talk to someone to the performance shooter of the caliber of like Ben Stoger.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like some kind of a public debate or whatnot, although I wouldn't be opposed to that either. But we are too little to talk to someone of his caliber. Yeah. But like on the personal level, yeah, I would have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I would be able to squeeze out some very useful information.
And I think like whoever that would be, if they have an open mind or even give a shit about tactical shooting, that like the people that they would not get information out of are the same people that I would prefer not to have a conversation with. But it seems that both sides of it are doing the same thing. I see so many people complain like, well, why don't you just go to this $25 match instead of spending $800 on a tactical class and $3,000 on gear? Well, I see just as many competition dudes spending thousands on gear and they still fucking suck. And then it depends on what class you go to. Like there's classes that shooting the build drill super fast, like you're not going to get that from Shooter Fighter Matrix.
No.
But you're going to work with attributes that you are going to have to do the work to understand of, hey, well, maybe I'm not as efficient with this.
I would like to see them do the build drill as they're doing the last
2.5.
The DP portion of 2.5.
Yeah, absolutely.
Put 6 targets, do the build drill as you're moving around that.
Yeah. Well, that's what, or the El Prez, like there's 3 people, 3 targets, or you could do 3 people with sim guns. I don't think that's going to work out.
No.
Even if you told him, hey, he's got a death ray, you get hit once, you're down. Like it's still, that's not going to work.
Well, you remember when we did the force on force portion, you go like, dude.
It doesn't turn out well for anybody.
No.
And that's
the margin for your error is so small. And I know because, the guy downrange, he knows what's going on. He knows where it's coming from. He's expecting it. He's not dumb. He's done the drill on both sides. Yeah. I mean, so you are pretty much, your odds are fucking close to zip.
Yeah.
They're close to zip. But that's how we train. That's why we train, right? Because if I can get 1 out of 10, then 2 out of 10, that's huge improvement considering that guy knows everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Well, that's the Cause Actual video that we were watching.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you just got to do the dynamic entry. It was like, you got a dude waiting, ready to shoot you, and the other guy at least has his gun out and he's doing the slice of the pie.
Yeah, Cause Actual. There is a little consideration there. Partial transitions don't work.
Yeah.
And by the way, when someone is there and you're trying to do everything on the same level standing up, when he knows where the door, he knows someone is coming through the door, he just needs to wait to see something. It's not going to work out. But cause you being a fucking physical guy, you should know that lowering yourself by 3 feet,
probably
at the very least, the guy would have to do what? This. And at the most likely, you would do what? Not straight to the target, but overdo it and then come back to compensate. Yeah. That may buy you those pressure's 0.7 seconds.
Yeah, but that's what he was like. Oh, you got to do the dynamic entry. It's like you've got two dudes that know something's up because he said it like the guy knows that there's a dude in there, and then the bad guy, knows there's a guy there. So you got two dudes with standard capacity, not super incapacitating guns. That dude's going to run in there. They're both going to shoot each other, and they're both dead.
Excellent, great outcome.
Like
equality.
Perfect. Yeah, sure. Like that's great.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's
I would prefer that like I go home. Like
me too, generally speaking, but that's probably stupid.
Yeah. So I don't know. And I don't know if I would assume he's kind of a performance guy, but then if he's doing CQB, maybe he's a performance tactical guy, and he's the.
I don't know.
I don't know.
For whatever fucking reason, I'm still getting a lot of his videos popping up on my feed and all that shit. And
yeah. Well, as soon as you
it
watch
seems like it's the same thing. Half of them he's in super undersized fucking wife beater or gym sleeveless shirt and wearing the 4-tube fucking thing and usually smoking a cigar. And it's always partial transition going to full transition. But then when he gets back, he forgets to put the thumb around there. And it's pretty much bam, 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 partial transition, bam, 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 full transition, bam, 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 partial transition, full transition, forgets that, bam, 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 drops it down, pulls the pistol, bam, 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 bam. That's pretty much 90% of his videos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are we doing here?
Well, it's probably to impress other men. Sounds a little gay, but whatever.
So, yeah, as I said, my big beef with that is that it's kind of like along the same lines where people go, pressure, right? So competition guys, there's pressure. Again, pressure from what? Generally speaking, it's from your time. Right?
Yeah, more intense than combat, I've heard.
Yeah, right, I've heard. I cannot have opinion because I have not done the competition, so I don't know how intense that is.
I don't know. The beep is pretty loud. Like you're wearing ear pro and you still hear it. It's
well,
loud.
I don't wear the ear pro, so.
Oh shit, that sounds dangerous.
Yeah, that sounds very dangerous. But pressure. A lot of people say that pressure is being used as the stamp of approval, right? And again, you have to separate what kind of pressure. What is the metric of your pressure? If the metric of your pressure is time, I'm sorry, dude. You are very, very delusional because time is not linear in kinetic exchange between two people or more than two. It's not linear time. To find out how it works, you would have to show up. We can talk about this till fucking cows come home, but you won't get it. Pressure is not a stamp of approval for legitimacy of what you have. Pressure is pushing forward with diagnostic approach to see how you can make things better. I think most people use pressure as this, like pressure test your skills. Boom, I won. I took him down. I was able to access my pistol and shoot him in the face. Boom, stamp of approval. This shit wins.
Yeah.
Right?
Once.
In this case, against this guy, under this specific situation, yes. And my problem with pressure is that people use pressure to not to justify, but to put a stamp of approval of a specific tactic or a technique.
Yeah.
Double leg takedown or split seatbelt grab or this or that or this kind of shooting or this kind of whatever, right? And again, to me, that's like kind of like narrowing your specializing in I can throw the fastball. I cannot catch shit, but I can throw the fastball.
Yeah.
Great. Or competition shooter. I have no fucking idea how this timing thing works around the corners and level changes and changing the cadence where you're not doing the bobbing Israeli head around the corner type of thing, right? Which is, I think, just finding right music for that. That would be a hell of a fucking video clip, doing all that shit, right? And yeah, so to me, pressure, like conversations about, in combatives, people say sparring is That's the forge where things are being proven, whether they stand the test of time, so to speak, or test of pressure or not. No, no, that's the diagnostics work where you can either on the macro or a micro scale diagnose your approach, not to prove that it works, but to find what you can do better. And generally speaking, when you do that, if you are diligent about your work, what you will find that this is not about improving or changing a technique. This is where people make a mistake. They go like, "Oh, it's kind of like adding extra doodads to your pistol to make it faster, right? Oh, let's do a little bit more cutouts on this fucking,
Yeah.
whatever, right? To make the slide lighter or whatever, right?" No, if you're diligent about it, you will come to conclusion that what makes technique robust is the attributes that you develop.
Yeah.
And that technique becomes less framed as a technique, less rigid as a specific, if he does A, you have to do B. It becomes more adaptable. It becomes closer to applying the principles versus having a fucking collection of techniques, and then assuming that you have time to go through the pages and select the right one for the situation that materializes in 0.2 seconds. So I think this whole conversation with the competition shooters saying that, performance shooters saying that tactical shooting is remedial level performance shooting, I think it's extremely misguided.
Yeah.
And it's misguiding.
Yeah. I mean, putting a tourniquet on in a ditch is remedial surgery.
Yeah.
Whatever. What the fuck does that mean?
I mean,
Like, which one do I need right now?
for 5 years I was a remedial nurse.
Yeah.
While inline intubating a pregnant lady in the ditch with crushed legs because engine block was over her legs. She was pregnant. Her water broke. We have submerged in the ditch while guys are trying to pull the engine out so we can extract her from the vehicle. And I'm sitting on her lap in the dark at 1 a.m. intubating her because she has compromised airway.
Yeah.
But I'm not a surgeon.
Right.
But we brought that lady back to the hospital and she gave birth. And both mama and baby made it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you kind of go like, was it clean? Was it operating room kind of? No, it was fucking nasty.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I forgot to put my gloves on. I didn't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't care. It was rain. It was fucking dark. I was wet. I'm like, I don't feel shit with my hands, with her saliva all over me and blood. You know what?
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's something that some of these people are just weird. Let's see. So we got a couple of comments. Overgeneralization for the sake of comforting their ego. Yeah, probably. Like, even so, the first dude that we were talking about, where he said that it's two dudes where everything's the same, like their mindset and their tactics and their gear.
For one,
the
such
same.
dudes don't exist.
Yeah.
That's for one.
Well, that's the thing is, okay, so now you've got a dude who's a grandmaster competition shooter, but you've got, a dude that how he makes his money is robbing people with a gun on the street. Which one do you think's more likely to shoot through the Doritos at the 7-Eleven?
And another thing, you have the mindset, you have this, you have the same gear, you have this. Which one has initiative? Which one initiates the work?
Yeah.
That changes everything.
Well, it's going to be a duel that the Grandmaster is going to get his draw to first shot
Beep.
and somehow incapacitate the dude with his 9mm pistol. He's going to incapacitate the dude before he can shoot him.
I want to create a timer that would be like a fucking, like this big, because what would hide in it, would hide in it like a fucking compressed spring with a boxing glove. It goes boom. Just
awesome.
Punches him in the face, and that's your go time.
Well, that's what I've told people before, and then sometimes we would do it, but it would be like, okay, well, playing with instead of doing like an audible stimulus, or if the audible stimulus is something, it would be a gunshot. It'd be like, hey, if you're looking around, boom, you hear the gunshot, you turn around, you see the target, and assess. But it'd be visual initiated drills, which is probably your most likely, or stimulus initiated drills, and it'd be like, hey, well, I've got this taser. I'm going to drive stun your butt cheek real quick. See how quickly you can get that pistol out.
But don't let him know ahead of time.
Oh no, they don't know. They'd be like, hey, you're going to know when the drill
When I
starts.
was teaching at Gabe Suarez's place, so I would, this is before we had access, at least open access to things like Sims and UTMs and all that stuff. I had these fucking 8-shot, about yay big paintball pistols. They had like a tubular magazine that went under the fucking barrel. They were awesome. And I would freeze the paintballs, and the guys on the shooting lane wouldn't know that I had it. I would go like, when you have a reason to shoot, shoot, but that way. For some people, it should have clicked. Why would I specify shoot that way? Don't turn around at me.
Yeah.
But for most of them, didn't. And I would just shoot him in the back. Sometimes, because I shoot from here, I definitely don't aim with that. So it wouldn't hit him right here. It would hit him like there, or right on the ass cheek or whatnot. And that's your go time.
Yeah.
And it's I know it's just a paintball, but it's amazing to see what a difference it was from the guys that some of them were pretty high-end performance shooters.
Yeah.
What was that? If we were to measure time,
they're conditioned to the beep.
Yes.
And that's something that so in John Hearn's cognitive pistol class, he uses kind of like a light show that he's made, and then some of it's like a pneumatic target that turns, but then some of it's like telling you when to shoot or what to shoot, like headshot, brain shot, or verbal challenge and stuff. And then he and then a couple other people plotted a bunch of data, and its visual stimulus makes it take longer, even for the grandmasters, to shoot. But it's like, oh, well, which one's more applicable? Probably doing it visual instead of based on a beep. But that's where you get the people, oh, you slow beeped me, or oh, well, I go on the beginning of the beep, not the end of the beep, or
there's a lot of interesting things to do, right? So if you look at most of the targets that people use, and even in tactical community, right? So you have this target that's kind of like that brownish color and all that, and with the black outline, and the black outline shows that he has a pistol, right? And I'm not going to tell you, because we didn't have like specific data, that I can tell you that the difference was palpable. If you had the target that's no longer square, so it's not, but it's actually three-dimensional, all that, and it's not all brown.
Yeah.
Okay. It has a shirt that has white with the red triangle on it that says Reebok or whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay. Your eyes will react differently with that mix of colors, and especially if it's moving, and if it's moving in the sea of different colors, because other people wear different shit. There's yellow sundress, there's this and that. If you think you're going to see that gun the same way, the way you see it on the brown paper target, I have news for you.
Yeah, it's not gonna do it.
It's not gonna work out the same way. So then people go like, well, I'm just gonna stand there longer and figure out what's up.
Yeah.
I submit to you, you should be moving faster to buy yourself time to figure out what's up. But that's very blasphemous thought.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's not a USPSA registered target, then it's obviously
it doesn't count. It's fake.
Bullshit. You got Clem. Absolutism, barbell versus body weight versus kettlebell, CrossFit, etc. Only the clan answers and knows the truth. Yeah, that's just what I hate, is like the people that don't understand that both sides, or I'm sure there's a third side. I'm sure there's the target shooters that don't focus on speed, but they're accuracy,
or the hunters, or the whatever, right?
Yeah, the hunters laughing like, oh, these guys fucking shooting super fast, and these guys, they're wearing camo and they're not even taking a deer. Like, what an idiot! Like, I don't know, but it's silliness. Got Rich. What's up? There we go. How do I know who it is without knowing who it is? Probably talking about Cause Actual. Yeah, there's a few distinct dudes, and he is one of them.
And I think partially they try to be distinct. I think they're trying to establish that persona.
Yeah. For sure.
which is okay. I mean, I get it, dude. It's business. You have to have that presence that's memorable. People see it. They don't have to question who that guy is, because you've seen so
Yeah.
many, like the guy for 3 years in a row wears the same kind of cowboy hat with the same kind of cigar. That becomes its staple.
Yeah, it's his brand.
It's the branding, right? And I get it. You know what I mean? I get it from the marketing perspective and all that. I just don't get into it.
Yeah. Well, that's the difference.
Like people were telling me, they go like, you should have always something wear on you that would be distinctive to just you.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
what am I, a fucking peacock?
I'm not going to reduce myself to it. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, to use the word.
Oh, he's wearing Nike now. You know what I mean? So he supports the child labor and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's performative. But you got a dude like Jay. But if I, other than these dudes who already know him, but if you went into a tactical group, like, hey, the guy that's telling everybody to do these barrel drills downrange, like, I know that guy. So like, that's a brand where he's not intentionally like, hey, look at me, look at my quad tubes and stupid fucking.
Well,
shit.
I told you guys, I don't want to be remembered for who I am. What I want to be remembered is what I taught. You know what I mean? I don't need people to remember my face, what I wore, what was my persona, or whatnot. If people remember what I taught, 30 years after I'm gone and all that, wherever the fuck I'm at, I'm probably gonna be going, yeah, cool.
Right.
They don't know the name, but
yeah,
who cares? They're using it. It's good.
Then William S. says, to drive a train, you need a large safety key. Well, thankfully, my competition belt has this big ass magnet, so I can get that.
You have a tube of a squirt jizz.
Yeah.
Sticky
hands. So in case it's slippery.
Yeah.
I got oil on my hands. In case that key
becomes slippery.
Yeah.
That's
cool. Rich Elb. Shout out for Ray to come train. Like, I don't know who Ray is, but
I have no idea who Ray is, but he sounds as Southern as you can get. Ray.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So Ray, fucking
whatever you are, Ray, you have to come and train.
Yeah, whatever it is that you need. We've got a lot of pistol stuff coming up. We got the optics class coming up. We got the 2.5 DP class. That's more of like a movement dissection class. Like, we've got tons of shit that you probably need. Probably. If Rich is telling you you're fucked up, then you're probably fucked up.
True that.
Yeah. I knew a dude named Ray. Well, I didn't know him personally, but there was a kid that ended up getting killed at one of the trailer parks in Mansfield. They set him on fire.
Oh.
Yeah.
So kid's name was Ray?
Yeah. He was like 16 or 15 or something like that.
Rest easy, Ray.
Yeah, it was rough.
May God have mercy.
But
Mansfield, man, what can I say?
Yeah.
That place.
I think Ray could have used some shooter fighter matrix and maybe some new friends.
True. And some choices to make in life,
Maybe.
All right.
William S. says dirt medicine. Yes. Totally different than sterilized medicine. Like, when we're talking about stuff in a vacuum where no variables really matter, then great.
No, once you get me, if something happens to me, once you get me to a hospital, I do want a surgeon working on me.
Oh, for sure.
But I have a rollover with the fucking me being ejected from the car and all that shit because I didn't wear a seatbelt or whatnot. And, the ambulance pulls up with two old salty hair paramedics jumping out, and then some douchebag in BMW pulls up and he says like, I'm
out of the way.
MD.
Yeah.
Whatever voice I have left, I'm going to tell that MD fucking drive fast to the hospital, prepare the operating table while these two dudes fix me to make it to the hospital.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Like, hey, we've got the guy that's going to take out your hostage taker. Like, oh, well, yeah, we've got him. He's the competition shooter that gets a lot of deltas. Like, cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's a grandmaster, though.
Hopefully.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think, at some point you kind of get to the point where it's kind of like a merry-go-round.
Yeah.
We're kind of being brought back to that because new posts are being made and someone else throws something out there or makes this or that or the video or the comments or dissing, let's say what Jay does or what I do or what anyone else does.
Yeah.
And we come back and we try to talk, and for the most part I think we do try to be kind of civilized,
Yeah.
but it's just becoming to where you go like, why are we even wasting time? Because our people, I think to a certain degree, they already have understanding, right?
Yeah.
The people on the other side that are stuck to performance or competition shooting and that diss everything that's outside of that narrow field, you know, I don't think that conversations, especially internet conversations, without some kind of hands-on or even demonstration without guns, like, here, get behind that corner, I'll throw a towel at you.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't think without that we can even start their brains turning to consider the possibility that there is something to see.
Yeah. I think that's
Forget about changing their training regimen or
yeah.
mindset or whatnot, for them to even start considering that there could be something beyond the horizon of their very narrow world.
Yeah.
Could be, potentially.
I do think that certain times that this topic kind of gets beat like a dead horse, but there's times like this time I feel that this is coming from a dude that is kind of prominent in the shooting community,
Mhm.
and that at some point you need to revisit it and be like, okay, well, I need to ask the question, even if I think that I'm right. Does he have a point? And I think he does for different people.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing tactical classes and you're just cosplaying, that's the same as doing the cosplay of, oh, well, I'm a gunfighter, but I've got my grip chalk and my $3,000 thing that's got the bike handle on it so I can rack it faster and these quarter loads that shoot
I just
faster.
noticed late. I haven't seen it. I guess I haven't paid attention much to those videos or whatnot. They do put something on their fucking slides to rack it faster, don't they?
Yeah. They do like all kinds of shit.
Jesus.
And then like some of the dudes, it gets crazy, and that's like the open division where anything goes. But would you? So is there a difference? Like, oh, I'm an open division grandmaster, where like my Glock has a bike handle on it, so I can rack it faster, and the bullets I shoot like would never wouldn't pierce the skin, but they can punch paper and stuff like that. But I've seen videos of dudes of like, hey, I'm trying out my new Glock 43X and I'm using plus P ammo. Like, man, this sucks. My bill drill like doubled. Like, maybe when you use actual ammunition in a gun that you might actually carry, it's different than your heavy ass staccato that has all these ports and weird shit in it. It's cool. It's sport, but I also I don't go like bass fishing and be like, oh, who's got the biggest fish? I don't care. Like, it's a
Yeah.
sport that like I'm not super into. Some people find it fun, and I'm sure we could make it fun.
I'm sure.
Like, I would rather do it in the spirit of what Ken Hackathorn started, where there's actual rules. If we came up with something, we just took the stage of 2-5 and then rolled some dice and said, we're pulling these cards out. This one says where the target goes. This one says the order you shoot it in, and then this is going on. Or Jeff Cooper's thing for his most of his competition stuff was a man on man. So it's not just a dude shoots and then gets his time. It's two dudes doing it simultaneously. Like, hey, well, it's Lewis versus Clem on the 2-5, and they're running it at the same time. Like, who can get the best points in the time and whatever, and that's where it's at. Like, that's at least a different
Yeah.
metric to, oh, well, let me just speed through this. Like, what's the fastest time in the history of 2-5? Like, I bet I could do it in 20 seconds. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it the best. Like, you just start ripping the rounds out. Like, you got a great time, but
Yeah, you also
but
have
you fucked it up.
85,000 push-ups because every single shot was static. You shot the
Yeah.
hostages.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. But the way that their competition has been set up, and maybe it was set up for dudes that didn't have the skill, because people say that this is the golden age of the competition shooting skill. I would agree that people are really fucking good at this specific
Yeah.
thing. But back then, when Cooper and Hackathorn and all these dudes were doing it, there was kind of like an understanding of what the intent was. So it didn't matter like that you're playing your power factor of I'm using these special loaded 9 mil bullets so they count better. Like it's retarded. But it's like you have to have a
Actually,
special.
let's ask a question from the guys. Name three top most gay things that you have observed from competition or performance shooting. I'm gonna you think about it before you say it because I want to see what if
Yeah,
our listeners, what are the three gayest things that you've seen from competition performance shooting? Because I already have it in my mind. So I watched this video again. It popped up, right? This guy, I don't know what pistol he uses. I don't know what it is, but he basically drops the magazine, puts the magazine in, and the bottom plate together with the spring of that magazine just falls out, and like 18 rounds just drop out of it and shit
yeah,
like that. And he cannot remove the magazine. Then finally he gets it in. He finally finishes the drill, and at the end he still does and catches the round.
of course, of course. That's so gay. Like I just watched one, so we were sitting here in like the last couple minutes before this, and then one of the things I watched was it might have been the exact same one, but it's a little Asian guy, and he's got this
Yes,
thing, and
yes,
then and it's basically it's like a well I just the comment I put because somebody shared it in a it's like the some kind of security
yeah.
officers training thing, and it was like hopefully this never happens in the field, and I was like well don't modify your gun to be a piece of shit for sport. And then two, like it's the diarrhea double feed. You broke the base plate on your piece of shit, and then it was a double feed. The reason the magazine hole wouldn't come out is because it was stuck in there with a double feed. Probably because his weird fucking ammo. So you need to move and be able to clear a double feed. That's all you need to do. And then he would have saved more time because he's like, oh,
Standing still in the doorway.
yeah, right. So,
But at the end, he did do
yeah,
catch the round.
yeah.
I think I'm going to practice that for a couple of weeks.
Well, that's what Lewis was saying to like rack it and then drop the gun and catch the round.
I think we can come up with better.
Probably.
Anyway, give me.
We got a couple men in spandex, gay. Yeah.
Yes, I'm
That
sorry.
is
Men in those fucking shorts running around with the fucking super colored shirts with all kinds of fucking sponsor names on it and all that shit.
yeah.
And usually with like yellow fucking sneakers.
Yeah.
I have yellow sneakers. My son bought it to me for me back when he was a big fan of Utah Jazz. Adidas made the sneakers because there was a player who played for Utah Jazz at that point. I forgot his name now, but Nick was a big fan of that player, and it was like his signature thing. So they made it in like crayon colors. So these obnoxiously yellow fucking Adidas sneakers, and I have a pair.
Nice.
So I think I'm going to teach one of my classes wearing that.
Yeah.
I don't have spandex shorts though. Shit, I'd look good in that shit, man.
Yeah. And then grip chalk, chamber flags, and flagging everyone unslinging a shotgun. Yeah, flags are pretty gay. Grip chalk is pretty gay. Flagging people, I guess it depends. If you're doing it incompetently, then yeah, that's pretty gay. Tripping over their own feet, yeah, that's pretty gay. Like if I had to say, I would say like the peak gay retardedness, like the Venn diagram of gay and retarded, I would say is the grip chalk. Which if you're a sportsman, I don't care. Like if you're like a strong man, like you got to do the thing, or you got to wrap these straps around the bar
To
because
pick
you're
up 800 pounds.
yeah, like whatever. But if you said, hey, like I can pick up this Atlas stone so I could lift a car off a pregnant lady. Like, yeah, but do you carry a block of chalk around? You know, or this special belt? Like that's gay. And then for me, so grip chalk I think is gay. I would say chamber flags are pretty gay, but that's an extension of like the cold range. I think the cold range is much gayer. That you're just that's the pride.
That's more like a
That's the pride
symptom of
flag.
gay.
It's the pride flag.
Yeah,
that you're
that's
that you're
just
gay.
that's just a symptom of being gay.
And then like the stupid gear stuff, and I guess those are all kind of stupid gear stuff. But like the magnets on your duty belt and the shitty holsters that's a foot off the side of you and weird stuff. To me, that's just as much cosplay. It's cosplay for the sport, which is fine. But the way a lot of women do the competition shooting it's usually in stuff they'll actually wear. So it's like leggings and a shirt, but then they put this giant belt on, and it's a
And
gun
it's
that
funny.
they're
It's funny. It's a woman who's 5'3" and she looks like a fucking Michelin tire guy because that shit is sticking out so
yeah,
far on both sides. And each magazine is a different angle because
yeah,
it's
of
kind of
course.
like done
It's the
because the
optimum for
optimal
whatever.
path. Yeah,
But I don't know, man.
yeah. I was gonna say that the whole thing is gay. Okay,
Yeah,
I,
it is descended
I
into
think
gay.
transparent walls are very gay.
Yeah,
I think it's very very gay having transparent walls.
yeah. I'm sure that's
Uh,
for safety,
yeah, right.
and people still shoot
Uh,
themselves.
and I'm sorry to say, catching you around at the end of it.
That's pretty gay.
That's
I think.
that's as gay as cum on your mustache.
Yeah, I think
That
picking
is as
three
gay.
was tough because there's at least 14,
Yeah.
and then shooting a no shoot target and laughing about it, gay. Yeah, and you know what? That's where you get like you are permanently a sportsman. I don't care.
Yeah.
Or that'd be the thing. Like, I'm waiting for a lawyer that actually knows shit about guns to fucking rip somebody up over this, because that's what it's going to take. Is it's going to take some lawyer, even if you're a good person and it might have been a good shoot. They're going to say, hey, well, this is the statistic on human assessment, and looks like you were shooting way faster than that. So you definitely fucked this up. You're going to jail. Or hey, here's video evidence of you laughing about shooting something you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure some lawyer out there has done it, and especially in a court that,
And if it
Portland
hasn't
or
been done,
something.
it will be done.
Yeah, I have no doubt. It's going to be somebody's. That's going to be somebody's wrench that they can turn
Mhm.
to screw over somebody. But and then what about, so since we did that side of the coin, what's the three gayest thing you see tactical guys do? And for me, it's almost exactly the same thing.
For one, the whole fucking dress up.
Yeah, it's
I'm
gay.
sorry, man. When I see the dudes walking in and they look like a fucking,
$1,200 pants.
it's, I don't even care if those are very expensive, good pants, whether they UF Pros or, I have Titanicas. They're not cheap, you know, or they cry pants or what. I don't, but when I see the dudes coming in and they go, and these are, again, mind you, these are 95% of the time, these are civilian dudes that are not actively involved in any profession of dressing up like that and doing jobs like that.
Yeah,
If what they say is true, if they do carry all the time, they carry concealed.
yeah, and that's
You
where they
know,
should get the reps.
yes.
So yeah,
So to me, unless we do like something like like what Jay and Gary did there, their fantasy game of beating Russians in Pennsylvania, what they call it,
the Wolverine warfare.
Wolverine warfare, Wolverines, yeah, whatever. Right? Yeah, something like that, because this is the theme, so to speak, of what you do. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You're carrying all that stuff. You have your backpack. You have your all the other shit. Okay, cool. I To me, that's one of the gay. I'll tell you the other gay thing. To me, is name me. You name three most gay things.
so not actually carrying a gun, that's pretty gay. Or like the dudes that load their gun back up in the back of their, their Toyota truck that's got all the extra stuff on it. Like, cool, bro. Like, I'm glad you got like a $80,000 truck, but that's not going to stop me from taking your staccato at the 7-Eleven. Like, between me and a $3,000 gun is a window. Like, thanks. I know a lot of dudes, and then one of them I'll name because he's had more than enough time to change it. But like John Lovell keeps kept maybe not keeps kept unsecured equipment in his truck, and if like weirdly, multiple times on video he said like, oh well, if this gets stolen, I don't really care because it's not this whatever. It's like, bro, some gangbanger's gonna shoot a pregnant lady with that. Like, you're gonna feel that.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, I got this handgun in the glove box, and then he was like, oh, I got this pack, and it's got all, it's got my nods in it. And then whenever I'm just at the office, this is before he moved out in the country. But when I'm just out in the office, I've got my suppressed SBR in there. Like, dude, like maybe you can hurry up out of the office, but I would assume if he's busy doing shit, like I've seen dudes break into cars and they're out in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Especially like they know who you are. He's
Mhm.
famous enough that other people might recognize him, or it's just hey, he's got this big ass truck with gun stickers. Like that
Which
that's
that is
peacocking.
pretty gay.
Yeah, that's peacocking, and then I wouldn't be surprised when someone steals that shit. You know, like, I'm not the type of person to steal anything, but if you were a gangbanger and you said, "Hey, I need a gun," to sell, to get drugs, or to rob people, or even to defend yourself from other gang members, like, "Hey, there's that dude that does gun classes. I bet he leaves something in his truck. Well, here's this bag, and I got fucking night vision, like $20,000 dual tube, cool guy shit. That sounds awesome. Like,
Sure.
if he is he selling them? I'll
I,
give him
s-
$1,000
I
right now."
certainly have a space for it.
Right. That's just silliness. But I've known people that have had that type of stuff stolen from them, like nods and guns and ridiculous stuff, because they're doing classes or they're going to trade shows, and then they're at fucking shot show in Las Vegas, and there's thousands of gun dudes.
Yeah.
You don't think criminals catch on to that? Like, hey, who's the fucking most retarded guy with his head up his ass? I'll rob that guy. Or the person that's going to follow the rules. Like, I assume you're not supposed to carry a gun. And then there's no actual check, of course. But a lot of people just do that. They
Yeah.
obey a rule that's not a rule.
It's a
But
suggestion,
but
a
that's
guideline.
that's pretty gay. So
Yeah, to me, it's also it's I'm looking at, and you heard me rap about it repeatedly, right? You're looking at the guys that have been coming somewhat regularly to different classes for, let's say, 5, 7, 8 years, right? And so you see evolution in them. Their gear got better because they've been
of
around long
course,
enough to where they go like, okay, this is not necessary. This is that. Some guys just they still chasing the latest greatest. They'll go to every latest show to try out this and that. But they generally speaking, they kind of have a direction where they need to go with their gear, right? With some of them, to a certain degree, you also see that their shooting has improved. Okay, but then I'm looking at the guys that went through numerous classes and they saw things, and it's the same guy that his physical conditioning hasn't changed in 7 years. In those 7 years, he hasn't taken a single class what to do without the gun.
yeah. No medical training. No
Certainly no combatives.
no combatives, no
Yeah.
verbal
Nope.
de-escalation, nothing else.
That's gay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, man. That
that's
is
pretty gay.
gay.
Well, and then speaking of one of my things, just because it's for me specifically, there's a lot of tactical dudes, and then dudes even in our circle that think like pepper spray's gay, or they won't even hear a free lecture that I'm giving. Like,
We will release some videos.
but that's what I'm saying. It's
We
like
will release some videos, and
alumni weekend, and
any of you who think it's gay, bring your straight ass
well,
up here, and you will act
well,
like a fag.
that's what it is. It's uh, so one of the quotes that you repeat a lot in the class that what I think is the barrier here is it's not just the things you know. It's not that kind of knowledge. It's the knowledge that you suffer.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't suffered it, you're not going to take it seriously.
No. No, like the example that we used about when Sophia is my 22-year-old daughter, right? Granted, before I divorced her mom, she was young and all that. But over the years, when she stayed with me, when we had split custody and all that, she heard me teaching classes. She heard the conversations. She's seen a bunch of shit. She never took it like, it's just my crazy dad does. But she never took it seriously.
Right.
Until a couple of weeks ago, she saw basically a murder like at this distance from her.
Yeah.
The guy got shot through the window in the restaurant, sitting at the next table next to them after midnight in Boca Raton, in very upscale area of that in South Florida there. And it became very real.
Yeah.
It became very visceral, very raw.
Yeah.
And she called me the next day and she's like, I can't describe the pink.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing is when you say like why should we do downrange drills? It's like I can't just put it into words. It's an
She goes like, it was so
experiential.
visceral.
Yeah.
It was so real. It was so compressed. It was so dense. She goes like, you could have talked to me that for 50 years about it. I would have never gotten it.
Yep.
Never. She goes, now I want me and Ben, her boyfriend, to take training.
Yeah.
That's what it took to see basically a person being murdered.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it became real. It became dense. It became visceral. It became raw. It materialized. You know what I mean? It's no longer a theory.
Yeah.
It's right there. You smelled it. You heard it. You saw it. You heard the breaths. You saw the body.
Yeah.
You know?
That shit'll stick with you.
Hmm?
Like that's the thing is like there's times where like I can think back to the times where things were pretty intense and the things like like you said the compressed nature of it, the saturation of stuff, like the sensory overload. Like I can, you know, it's like you remember the sights and the smells and the textures, like things that I normally wouldn't notice. But like, I had a hand on this dude's head, and I could feel like, his hair was slick as I was pushing him and doing this thing, and it's like, huh, like things,
Yeah.
that's a.
Yeah.
Especially the like the first time of like the novelty of it, which is
Yeah.
the thing that I preach with the pepper spray a lot is it's going to be a hell of a lot worse if I'm not the one doing it for you.
Yeah.
Because it's happened to cops where people use it against them. It's happened to people working places where they're stealing stuff. Like if I was going to kidnap somebody, like that's how they do it.
No, dude, like, if you're gonna fucking carjack somebody,
yeah,
pepper spray is the
blast
shit.
them. Yeah.
Pepper spray is the shit.
And then how many people actually train in a way where like even if you still have some of your vision, like people already don't train under any stress, or they aren't carrying the gun in the car because it's it's in the trunk or retarded shit. But that's the same. Like that's why Andrew Smirsak, I'm calling him out. I was trying not to, but it's like, hey, bro, like I know you did it in the Marine Corps once, but this is not the same thing.
It's not the same.
But it's like.
It's not the same juice anymore.
But that's what I'm telling him. Like partially it's a joke, but it's
not a joke.
It's coming from the heart. Like this shit needs to happen because he's in our community and does stuff. But it's like, hey, dude, like if we were to run force on force, and be like, hey, your kid's gonna be there, and I'm gonna pick her up, and I'm going to steal her. Like this could happen because that's people do weird shit. Yeah. Like, absolutely. What are you going to do about it? And be like, okay, like that's even like okay, well, I've got my gun. Like, okay, well, now you can't see. Yeah.
Now what?
Like, I would at least want to know.
Yeah.
And because that's why I was talking with Sam when I pepper sprayed him at alumni, and it was like, well, the amount of vision that he had and the time it took him to engage targets with the gun, he's like, I'm just going to grab him and I'm going to draw my knife and I'm going to stab him.
Yeah.
Because that's it. That's what you got.
No, because going hands-on pretty much is your best option at that point.
Yeah. If I can't see him, I can at least touch him.
Yes.
Yes. That works for me.
Not just that, because it's already, if it's on my face, I do want to make that. I'm going to share that fucking joy with you.
Oh, yeah. But that's what I mean. It's like a burglar or, an active shooter, because active shooters have used this too. And, or people that are trying to hurt the cops or a kidnapper or.
Well, actually, now in New Jersey, I think, with that thing going on at the ICE Detention Facility Center, I guess they use it against cops.
Yeah.
I just saw the video that they're using fucking OC spray.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like people used to do that too. Is like you can get a like a Milwaukee, like a compressed air mini leaf blower, blow the fucking tear gas back at them.
Yeah.
Like you don't need a giant leaf blower. That'd be cool. That'd be funny. But like you don't need that. Just blow it back at them.
Yeah.
Or cops that there's a whole crowd of people and they start spraying everybody and gets the other cops. That happened at like January 6th.
They have the fucking
they had the whole
little portable fan going.
Yeah, but that's what it takes. But if the difference between a guy kidnapping your kid was him spending $12 at Walmart or stealing it at Walmart, they've got Saber Red at Walmart. That's the full strength stuff.
Yeah,
it's there. You could steal it. They got it at the Harbor Freight. They got it at wherever. They got it on Amazon.
Yeah,
they could have that shit next day. Amazon
Prime delivery. Yep.
Yeah.
Indeed, man. Yeah. So I think, in principle, what is the most gay thing is that we think we know everything, or we think we know enough.
Yeah. Or your perception of yourself and the reality.
Pride.
Two different things.
Pride is gay.
And that's
Vanity is gay.
That's across the board.
You know,
Competition and tactical dudes.
Don't be afraid to be a fool and come to training with whoever you train, not necessarily with us. You know, whether you go to John Lowell or you go to any of the other guys, go there and be a fool.
Yeah.
Not idiot, fool. As in, I don't know shit, teach me. That's not gay.
Yeah.
That's not gay at all.
That's what you think is gay.
No.
Because you're like, oh, I don't want to.
To serious teachers, that's the measure of the man.
Yeah.
You know, well, I told you guys numerous times in the class, you know, we had guys that would shoot pretty fast and finish the drill first. And who would have comment about? The guy who finished last.
Yeah.
I go like, he fucking dissected every trigger press. He dissected every shoulder movement, everything. And he finished 15 seconds after the fastest guy.
Yeah.
But he learned about 3 times more lessons.
Yeah, for sure.
First guy was gay. Second guy is as straight as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Last guy is as straight as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know, so to me, it's I think we just probably use, and again, you know, I think the competitive nature of what performance shooting is, you can't help it. Okay, it cannot be helped, I would rather say, but it does bring that pride. It brings out that vanity, and it attracts those kind of people.
Yeah.
You know.
Like I said, it's the same across the board. Like the shit that I hate about, you know, the competition dudes, the same as the tactical dudes. If you're like, it's pride and ego and vanity when you play dress up.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed. Like I know a bunch of dudes that are genuine ninja badasses that like, you know, Jay wears like cargo shorts and a shirt.
Yeah.
Like he's not there to impress anybody.
Nope.
Like when it's time to impress, he'll provide the impression. Like I don't need it's peacocking, and it's for other men. Like I don't know. I don't know if women like enjoy that shit. I assume they can tell that it's fake.
Have you noticed what kind of shoes I wear on the range every day?
Just regular.
Just regular, like a fucking, what are these called? I even forgot what the fuck they are because I have like 60 pairs of them. Skechers. That's what they are.
Yes.
That's my tactical shoes. Skechers.
Yeah.
Do I have some boots? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not what I wear when I went to pick up my farmer's market order today.
Yeah.
This is what I wore.
Right. You didn't wear your special shirt that gives you a 0.5 draw.
This is what it was, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So don't be gay, basically. What does Clem say? Respect the pepper spray?
Yes, for sure. And if you, like, that's the thing is like the pepper spray don't care if you respect it or not. Like that's just going to make it worse on you if you didn't.
Yeah. That's it.
This like I would say there's a caveat. So I don't know who this is. Beans. So I would say you're right. 90% of this information is free online. If you wanted to take like a basic pistol class, that's most assuredly online. But then when you start delving deeper into it, the weird part is you are completely right that most of this shit is free, but the willingness of people to do it. If you said I'm going to have somebody get training with no favors and no money, you could do it.
Do you know this guy is?
No.
No.
But if you said I'm going to make it a challenge to not pay for this class, but I want to learn to be a USPSA master, or I want to learn to do tactical shooting, and there's a lot of this stuff. You know, like you have a lot of stuff online, and then YouTube's taken it down, but there's a lot on Liber TV. James Yeager had a shitload of stuff online for free. Like his fighting pistol DVD that he made a bunch of money off of is free online. And what you would need to do is not just watch that, but pay attention to what he's saying and do that. For the most part, when we talk about training versus practice versus just shooting or plinking, a lot of your practice could be done doing a lot of your dry manipulations, whether it's with your AK or your pistol or your shotgun. If you aced that shit, like you need to go to the range to zero your gun and then to work on recoil control.
Beans. When you say 90% of this information is free online, you already answered, although this was not a question, you made a statement that paying for classes is gay. So if I provided you with about 20 pages of information of, and you don't know what it is, but imagine if I wrote up 2-5 drill in 20 pages.
Right.
So I got you the information, right?
Right.
How will you do in that drill?
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Is the part that you are paying for is
You're
the
not paying for information. You're paying, yes, you will come to class. It will start as a baseline information will be provided. Then from information, if class is structured well, you'll start understanding the meaning of that information. You'll start gaining, so to speak, the meat of why that information is what it is, the why behind the what.
yes.
And then gradually, as we move along, you will be able to apply that not only knowledge, but also understanding and make it into ability.
Yeah.
That's what you pay for.
Yeah. So the information
Ability
is
cannot
there.
be gained free
Right.
because you have to be in person in the dirt or on the mats or on the range or in whatever.
Yeah. And that's part of the like I said, I agree that the information's there, but if you took one class, if you took shooter fighter matrix, or even if it was something where, like at our, if it's totally free, like there's times where you've got the stuff, like you've got some videos on this, or if it's, like I said, the fighting pistol DVD is free on YouTube right now. If you took shooter fighter matrix, you paid for one class, then you actually did what you learned and actually worked on that, you would be better than a dude that went out and took 20 classes and then just never practiced or gave a shit.
Yep.
That's what so like Clint Smith talks about is like, if you go and shoot once a year and that's your training and you're just not practicing any of that, you're just shoving money up a piggy's butt.
Well, it's the same thing, like, like people go like, 10 years ago, I used to be this. I used to be a SWAT cop. 15 years ago, I was 5th Special Forces Group.
Right.
What have you done since?
Right.
Do you keep up the same intensity regimen of your training?
Yeah. If you hang out with those dudes and train all the time, like that's
Cool.
still relevant.
Cool. Right. So, no, I will disagree with you very, very strongly that paying for classes is gay. Actually, I will say that being entitled to get everything for free is gay.
Right. Stop the bleed is free. That's true. Body cam is free. You mean like watching police videos? Yeah, that's free. But part of that is, the stuff that you can get out of that. All of these are on you, and that's the same. And then a match is $50, and like a match or a class or whatever you're actually paying for, you as the student or as the match participant is going to determine what you get out of that. Because some of the argument that I've heard people say is, oh, it's a $700 tactical class, or USPSA classifiers $25 or whatever. You can spend a bunch of money on a tactical class and be a shitty student and not get a
What do you
fucking
mean
thing out of
stop
it.
the bleed is free?
So I think the class as itself is free. Like the people that run it,
Mm-hmm.
like I think the way that most people make money off of that is like selling you gear.
Okay.
But I think there's no toll to get the certification through them. I believe I'm not 100%
Okay.
sure. I've heard that from other people, but it's certainly free. But there's also the point where stop the bleed doesn't cover stuff. But if you took a stop the bleed class and they're talking about tourniquets and bandages and gauze wound packing, and if you own those skills, you've got a way better skill set than a heart surgeon who doesn't give a shit and he spent $300,000 on medical school and you got a free class. So in a way, I would say that you know you wasting your own time and money is gay. So if you were to come to class or were to go to stop the bleed or were to look at your case law and body cams, that's pretty cool. Like that's what we do.
Yeah.
But you also have to be able to extract that value out of it and put the thought into it. So whether it's you could waste money at a match, you could win the match and get your money back. You could go to a tactical class and learn a lot. You could go and learn nothing. But that's up to you. And part of it's also the people you're going to be around. So if you're running your USPSA classifier, if I was running it, I'd be like, "Hey, Sonny, can you record this?" And be like, let me know what you saw. And, but hey, when, every time that you step with your left foot, your hips fucked up and you do this thing, I'm getting a lot more
Cool.
out of it than a dude who just showed up,
Yep.
and it doesn't
Agreed.
cost me anything.
Agreed.
And then some people, like especially in our group, because we're all in the same mission. But I'm sure if you go to a match, there's somebody there who is a master, a grandmaster, that's willing to say, "Hey, this is what you need to be doing." So that information is technically free, but you have to, in the same way that you have to be the arbiter of what's worth your effort, you have to be the arbiter of what's worth the money. And there's some stuff that is not free, and some of the stuff that is free definitely fucking sucks. Okay, so not all stop the bleed classes are created equal. So I would assume that stop the bleed is kind of like an NRA pistol class, where I've seen some people who can do it really well and it make it entertaining and knowledgeable, and they actually give you stuff. So like Kyle, who was at the 2.5 DP
Oh
class,
yeah, in
he
Ohio.
does like CCW classes, but his is more of like defensive handgun one, and there's actual stuff in it about like living with a gun. So the state minimum is supposed to be this much training, this much live fire, but he's getting a lot more stuff in there, and you're actually drawing from the holster, and you're actually going into some of the stuff, and he answers people's questions like, "Hey, what if I have to use the bathroom with this gun?"
Okay.
Like, "Oh, do you set it in your pants, or do you like, bump fire it off the hook in the Walmart bathroom?" Like shit like that. But yeah, watching, yeah, for sure, it doesn't make you a good wrestler, but if you know what you're looking for,
but
you
that's
can
but
pull
but
some.
that's if you know what you're looking for. How do you learn to know what to look for?
Right.
That's
So
a whole
it's
other
just
thing.
going to depend on the student.
Yeah.
Let's see. Didn't Yeager say he could do fighting pistol with a couple hundred rounds? Yeah. So he, if anything, he said that he tricked you into coming by telling you that you get to shoot a bunch. You're there for the mindset lecture. That's what he tells you in the mindset lectures. Ha ha! I tricked you. You get to shoot, but in the same way that he says, if I gave you pallets of ammo, you could figure this out. You could, not that you would. You could figure it out. That you probably need to move and use of cover and doing your reloads and stuff. You could figure it out, but I've seen a lot of classes. Larry Mudgett is a dude. He's Salt Lake City, Utah. He's a dude. Like the first, I think it's like 2.5 days of his. He does like a 4-day class. There is no shooting. It's all dry work, and it's all minutia of the trigger pull and the relation of the sights and different stuff. It's
Okay.
for a select group of people,
I already
but
like it.
I was like, yeah, I don't want to dangle something in front of somebody and be like, oh, you get to make this gun go bang. But the people who sign up for that class are the dudes that really want that stuff.
They dig deeper.
But that's the same as it is. You getting to shoot the gun is secondary to learning the other things, and that's the part. In addition to most of the live fire portion, that's not in the fighting pistol DVD, and then the entirety of the mindset lecture is not free. There's only one place that you can get that, and that's paying for the class.
Yep.
So this information is there, and there's depending on the type of person you are, you might already have some of that mindset, or that might get you into the circles of where other people have the things that you can get. If you made it a challenge, you could get a hell of a lot for free. But I don't think that's the correct mindset. But you are the variable in that. Is you can soak up bad stuff, you can soak up the good stuff, but you have to constantly be maintaining that filter. It's the mind is the perfect servant but a terrible master.
Yeah.
That's the same for your cell phone or your social media or
Yep.
YouTube. That's why I was telling myself, like, man, like I'm tired of all this stupid shit that I get. The only thing that I use Facebook for is like I'm in like the attack response alumni, and then there's like the Green Force group and a couple other things, and then so some of it's like product updates
Yeah.
but there's a couple of things that are actual training stuff or body cam stuff, but there's just so much other shit that I have to sift through
Yeah.
that I don't want to spend an hour sitting on my phone doing dumb shit. Same with YouTube. Is I could be watching stuff that's about shit that matters. That's gonna
And then
change the way I do
you have
stuff.
6 videos of Rabbi Shmuley, you know.
Yeah. So somebody saying stupid shit about politics, or
Yeah.
somebody, there. I don't expect anybody to be a purist with the internet and say like I never do anything that's not 100% on task, because I'll watch something that's funny or something stupid that somebody sends me, something like that. But
Just
and it,
about, I think about maybe about 10 days ago, maybe less. I don't know what I was doing. I was in my office doing something, and it was something training related. I was watching something and making some notes. And then, as the video on my phone kept playing, because I was writing things down, it switched to the new video. And it was a farts video. The guy walking in the park and doing the farts and the reactions, basically. Mostly ladies, when they walk and the guy in front of them farts and the reactions. And then. For the next 5 minutes, I was laughing like a fucking idiot watching a fart video, you know what I mean?
right,
And I'm like, that was actually fucking very enjoyable.
right, and that's the thing is if you have a grip on it, you can kind of
Yeah,
schedule it in a way that it's not, hey, I spent 5 hours watching dumb shit
yeah,
and then I got an hour's worth of productivity.
yeah.
But yeah, William S. Same thing. Zero to Hero radio class. All that shit is out there. But part of the thing is that class is curated in a way, and that's part of what you're paying for. Is it's being curated,
Mhm.
the material, and presented in a way that's more digestible than here's this 600 question test. You're going to get 80 random questions from here. Study the answers. There's actual practical information that took a dude a hell of a lot of time to figure out the best way to present it
Yep.
and to make it digestible for like non-radio people. So you theoretically could filter through that. That's something well before I got super into training. But so my second class, like my second actual class, was fighting pistol. So I took the sniper class with Jay by accident because I never watched anything from Tactical Response. And then of course he's like, "Hey, you got to come back because we got all these other things, pistol, medical, force on
Mhm.
force, rifle, blah blah blah." He's like, "You can shoot a rifle. I want you to do this other stuff that's important." So I was like talking to a bunch of my buddies, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't see the point in coming to training because I could just do that shit by myself." It's like, brother, you don't even carry a gun. Like, it's been fucking 8 years or whatever. Like,
Chuck
what?
Peoples, how you doing, sir?
Yeah. And then butthole pepper spray. That's what
Yes.
Clem said.
What I
So
was talking about, farts video.
yeah. Well, there. So I don't remember if I showed it to you or not, but there's a dude that he calls himself like the world's strongest bodybuilder, and he is like, it's bodybuilder versus. And it's
Oh, I
like,
saw
and
the
he
video of
gets hit
him
with a
getting
bat,
pepper.
and
Yes.
then he gets like, they bring in a hockey, player to fucking hit him with a puck and whatever. But it's like he does shit like that. But then he did one where he gets pepper sprayed, and then he snorts pepper spray, and then he gets bear sprayed, and then the dude sprays pepper spray in his butthole, and
Nice.
right. But that has some training value
I'm sure.
when
Especially
you
on the butthole.
when you know how to dissect it.
Yes.
But yeah, Chuck Peoples, what's up? And then as someone who's taken Zero to Hero, yeah, that's part of the thing is without taking a class, you can't immediately discount what goes on in it. If someone's entirely uh, transparent about what's going to go on, if you told me, hey, the guy in town is doing the NRA pistol class, I'm probably not signing up for it. If you told me that's exactly what he was going to do down to the letter, I'm probably not signing up for it. But if you said, "Hey, well, this guy's doing some cool stuff with the pistol," and it ends up being like Shooter Fighter Matrix, you'd be like, "Well, how can I say that I'm not going to get anything out of
Yeah.
that?" There's so much that, and every class is different, especially classes like that. It's going to be based on who's in the class.
A lot of
So
time it changes depending on the audience present. Absolutely.
yeah, so it's going to be your skill level, your questions.
You've been in enough of the same classes where you saw the difference between,
Yeah,
with different audiences. So
yeah. I don't know. I'm sure you could figure some of that stuff out, but it would be a bitch. Like
yeah.
that's what I hate spending money on shit that doesn't give me a return. Because like they're especially like people that buy stupid gear. Like I would, you know, I'd love to have nods, but what's that going to change in my life right now? If shit hits the fan tomorrow, I'm probably totally fucked because the dudes that have the extra nods that I would get are 1,000 miles away. But that type of stuff is like if I had $20,000 sitting in my hands, like we just we've got the new house. I'd rather fucking buy something for that.
Yeah.
Work on a bunkhouse for training stuff or cut out like a 360-degree berm or some shit. That'd be cool. Whatever. But that's the same shit with your training is there's some classes, a handful for sure, because I've taken a shitload of them that are worth well over their time. So a good example that not a lot of people do is Masada Yube's legal lecture, and it's 20 hours, and it's like the Armed Citizens Legal Defense or something like that, or
Yeah,
the
I
rules
remember
of
we had a
engagement.
conversation about that class.
I think the class was $500 or $550, and in like the first 30 minutes, he's like, "Hey, here is a $50,000 advice of this is how like you're going to find your attorney and approach them, and then this is how you're going to do all of your training stuff. So it's going to set this up in court that it puts you in the best light, and then if your lawyer doesn't know it, you should make them do it, and if you should find one that does know this, but it's going to save you $50,000." It's like holy shit.
There you go.
How do
in
you
case I need it, it
Yeah.
paid for itself many times.
Yep. In addition to all the other things, especially in a class that's about legal shit.
Yeah.
And then since it was brought up, case law is free, but there's also the way that there's a case law, and then there's also how a law is interpreted. So
if you have not been yourself to the courtroom, and I'm not saying for shooting somebody or whatnot, as simple as child custody case, there's case law.
Yeah. Well, that's
ask me about it.
One of the quotes from that class is that a lawyer is going to get more use out of the dictionary than Black's letter law.
Yeah.
Is because there's like, oh well, this word, like, well, I've read the Constitution.
Yeah.
Am I a lawyer? No. Am I going to be able to be like, well, I need a surface-to-air missile, 2-day shipping on Amazon because Second Amendment? They're going to say no. We interpreted that. No, we're going to say no.
Yeah.
So what? Yeah. So the case law is there, the body cams are there, but what the conclusion's not going to be the same, especially from different perspectives. Like I've got, a little bit, like compared to all of my other training kind of trumping that, I've gotten a little bit of like the peace officer training. So I'm a peace officer, but, letting all those things kind of lapse because the institution is pretty gay, and I'm not going to keep paying a state academy that I don't live in anymore to keep these retarded pieces of paper.
Yeah.
But those are the things. So you get a perspective from there, and you get a perspective of like the people at the ICE protest. I'm sure that they feel differently, and then there's going to be some tactical advice in there of why you should be there, or oh, this shooting was good and this wasn't. And then you've got stuff. We kind of wrote a different line with some of like the actual ICE shootings. Like, hey, maybe this was gray, but this was definitely black and white. This was fucked up. But you wouldn't get that. Like I watched it and I had my opinion, and then your opinion was pretty close, but for a little bit of a different reason. But then that made me think of the differences. And then we asked Lewis, and his opinion was a little bit different. Then we heard from a couple other people, and then seeing comments and stuff.
And then I enjoyed, like talking to Rob Pincus about it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's, so even about topic that we, like kind of touched upon today, right, with the performance competition shooters, you can say that it would be potentially productive if we could have the actual honest attempt to exchange views and compare notes.
Yeah.
But it's not there.
Yeah.
It's not there. It's almost like, like this predatory waiting. I hope he says something. Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're like, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, the information's there, but like for the most part, you can go buy
information is there, and they say also knowledge is power. You will not beat me with your knowledge.
Yeah.
You will not beat me with your knowledge.
I was just gonna say, well, the information's there. You can go find, for free or at a library, law textbooks. Does that
Mhm.
make you a lawyer? No.
No.
Like they're, the same with medical stuff. I could read,
Dude,
how to put a tourniquet
every
on.
book by about the structure firefighting, wildland firefighting, everything is available online. Does that make you a firefighter? Let me put a fucking inch and three-quarter hose in your hands at 175, 185 psi, and let me put you in front of the door with a fucking 650 degrees behind that door, with the smoke about 3 inches off the floor of blue and black color, and let me see you being a firefighter after you read all that stuff 6 times.
Right.
I mean, you got the free info.
Right. But the other end of that is, volunteering as a firefighter is free, but you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
'Cause I know a bunch of shit firefighters. They're not my friends, but it's the people that like I wouldn't want showing up if there was a fire here.
No, dude, like
Like
a lot of volunteers, I respect what they're trying to do. They're trying to help and all that stuff, but it also became kind of a little bit of a good country boy, this is what I do.
Well, some of
I'm
it
a volunteer
one
firefighter.
of the dudes that I used to work with doing repo, he was repeatedly fired for being retarded, but he was kind of in the cosplay thing of he's a volunteer, but then you know he's paying his own like a lot of money. He's on the phone in our repo truck, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm getting all these polos with my with this logo and stuff," and it's like cool. Like he really wanted everybody to know he's a volunteer fireman. Really want like,
That's cool, man.
and
That's
not
cool.
the dude that I would trust to drive any vehicle anywhere, because
Or certainly not to come in into a fucking major fire in your
and
house
not
with
shit
your kids.
himself.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
in
no
there.
way. But
Yeah.
that's the type that we're getting at. But you could also go, you could do like a police explorer program and learn a hell of a lot about what's being a cop for free.
Yeah.
They do that, but that's the same thing. Is it's up to you. And that's the same with our competition shooters, our tactical shooters. It's an individual problem, but for the most part, once you start getting into the tribalism, like tribalism, is a teetering scale of gayness. It's like it's very easy for people to step over that the point right in the middle
Yeah.
and be like, we're balancing this, and then people start going way too, oh, I got to shoot fast, or oh, I got to look cool for all these other dudes at this competition. Like that's very quickly gay.
Yes. When you're trying to impress other dudes, that makes you gay, okay? Because you
That's
think that
that's
other
gay.
dudes will like you, which is gay.
Yeah.
If other dudes like you, you're gay.
I don't know, man. And then
Anyway.
one of the YouTube channels that is more like lady centric, I kind of recommend with caveats because she does a lot of uh, like concealment stuff and whatever. But she released a video that part of it I agree with because she was talking like it's like the however many things, the most important things as a new concealed carrier, and one of them was mindset and about like actually having your stuff and knowing how to use it. But then one of the next ones was you should pay attention to your power factor and do this at the match, and it's about shooting fast and whatever. I was like, fuck, this is stupid now. Like now I gotta
That
say,
sucks when you have good stuff and then you have diarrhea mixed with it, right?
yeah. But then it's
Damn
like
it.
only pay attention, and that's part of the problem. Is I'm sure this is not what she wants, but it's like only pay attention to the stuff about how she dresses and how she looks because that's what's going to help you save your life when you're wearing a dress.
Discernment.
All the rest of that shit is fucking retarded.
Discernment. Yeah. Use your discernment.
Like,
All right. Well, do we have any questions? Doesn't look that way.
I don't think so. I think that was it. I think I've been pretty on top of the comments.
Cool.
But yeah, we've been going for about 2 hours.
Yeah. I know.
So we've kind of reached the conclusion that super competition guys and super tactical guys, you're both pretty gay.
Yeah.
I would not put myself in either block. It's kind of the guy pushing one guy over the line. Like I would not consider myself a tactical guy because those guys are really fucking gay.
Yes.
I would disagree with them probably quite a bit more than most of the competition dudes. Because if you wanted to talk about pure skill, I've got a hell of a lot to learn that those dudes got. But in the same way, I've seen a lot of those dudes that lean into that too much that they're kind of getting pushed out because they ask questions like, "Hey, maybe I should do my reloads behind cover." But but that's too slow.
Yeah.
They start pushing those dudes out.
Yeah.
Like, oh well, where do you go? And it's probably like James's Island of Misfit Toys. Like, I don't fit here and I don't fit here. I got it's the train with the square wheels and shit. Like, that's where we're at.
There is a place in Texas you may fit in if you don't fit in either one of those.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, dudes and dudettes. If we had any dudettes, I doubt it.
Maybe one.
No, I don't think so, but that's fine. I'm okay. We're not inclusive.
Carrot was here, so we got one.
Okay. So that being said, there are no other questions or whatnot. So next week, potentially, Lewis might be back in town, right?
Supposed to be, but I'm not 100%. Well, actually, I don't know I don't remember if his class was this weekend or if it's the next weekend because they don't do Saturday. Jeez.
Oh, it's
so it might be a
I see.
Sunday Monday thing.
I see.
Maybe, or maybe that was last Sunday Monday.
Maybe it was. I think it was.
I don't know.
Anyway. All right. Well, dudes. Yeah. Share it. Tell people to come listen. I will try to do my thing tomorrow on my channel. I have no idea what I'm going to be talking about, but I'm sure I'm going to find something. Well, I do have some ideas, but I'm just not going to tell you. And then next Monday, we'll do this thing again here. You can go to website, look at the training. When Lewis gets back, we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the stuff coming up because we still have time before that time, before the
for sure
summer heat goes away. We're just stepping into the really real heat here. And you have anything else?
If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them on the video. We'll get back to you. We've got I've got a couple ideas in the pipeline of topics that we're going to discuss. Sonny and I were talking about one. We're watching a video of this dude kind of like coming around a corner. We're talking about the angulation and movement of it's like you're starting to move in different planes, like how that's either going to help or hurt you. So
that's actually using the metric of time.
Yeah, and part of that, it's an example just to kind of tease the topic a little bit. It's a guy coming around a corner and he's got the rifle and he comes around in the shoulder. Then he's got it, like the
stroker,
doing it, the cool ninja way, and then taking it and then turning and coming up. And then you got like the over the shoulder, like the short stocking, but it's just clearly there is a difference between those. And then what does it matter? And then how does that reflect on your time and your exposure and your ability to make a precise shot without overshooting the target or doing any weird shit because you're biomechanically less efficient?
Yeah, and we'll try to dissect it in detail because there is a difference. People look at the time, right? So when they look at the time, they go like from beep to bang, shot, right? I look at the time that between that beep and bang as he came around the corner. If I break that timing, what was the time needed for him from the first exposure to the shot?
Yeah, like the first bit of his ear past that cover
to the shot.
That's
to me. That's the time that matters. Not how quickly he came around the corner, but how quickly from the time he became visible to the time he made a shot.
Yeah,
that time is more relevant
for sure. But that's part of the problem of like IDPA kind of does it, but like I said, the tactical priority, peeking and shooting, whatever. But how do you really determine that? If you're doing like a slice the pie of everything, you're kind of going to be slow or you're going to have to game it.
Yeah.
So obviously you can completely get past your cover, or the time it's going to take you is the time it's going to take you. Same with an assessment.
Yep.
Those are the things that you can't just put on a single linear time and be like,
And yeah, and
That's
there are
good.
things that under certain conditions or whatnot, it's not the things that you want to rush.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel like I would want to rush coming around a corner to
Yeah,
have to shoot a
especially doing
dude.
a single man
Yeah.
entry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That doesn't sound good.
no, not fun. Not fun.
But that's kind of teasing some of the stuff that we've got kind of on deck. That might be the next one. That might be the next one. It depends if we've got some stuff we need to film for that. But send in the comments. Send in any suggestions you guys got of stuff that you want to see. We've got a couple, like well, the whiteboards at the other house, but we've got a bunch of stuff kind of on deck of
Yeah.
whether depending on what's relevant. This just happened to be what was relevant of people saying stupid shit. But we'll catch you next week.
All right. See y'all.